Hi friends, welcome to Maria's Ideas Teaches Us to Paint. This is the tutorial for the tracer or drawing for episode 32 of Maria's Ideas Teaches Us to Paint in Pittsburgh, PA. We film each month at Johno's Art Studio in the South Side Slopes. If you are ever in the area, stop by, check us out online, johnosart.com or mariasideas.com for our location and hours. So we are going to have a guest for episode 32 from the National Aviary. And we are painting, this is Red, who lives at the National Aviary, and we will have a guest there with us to paint this beautiful parrot. And so this is the 10-minute tutorial, or close to that. Please excuse my microphone and my webcam because I'm older and I'm still learning how to do all this stuff, and I'm using my camera and my desktop. So this is what I figured out so far. So I hesitated to even have myself shown, but people say that's important. So, and I do like to connect with people as easily as possible. So anyway, thank you so much. And so our show is, I host and produce the show with my co-host and co-producer, Alan Levine. And let's get started. So when we have the show, we paint on a canvas panel, okay, 11 by 14. You can use any size, canvas, board, paper, whatever you choose. We use acrylics, and what I'm going to show you here is using the grid system to scale an image onto a canvas or a wall, or you can do it as large as you want. So I have the image here of what I designed, and I worked from a photograph of Red. You can see this is a scarlet macaw. He has red, yellow, and blue primary colors, which is great. So that is just a reference, and I'm going to draw by looking at this 5x7 that I printed out, just to show you how you can enlarge an image that you print out, or that you maybe took a photograph with your phone and printed it out. You can even trace, you can open up your phone, say to, let's see, we can open up a photograph on your phone and just say this is a bear that I was working on, a mixed media piece. So if I enlarge this and I put a piece of tracing paper or something that I could see through, wax paper, any kind of a clear surface that you could draw on, you can lay that on top of your phone, and you can draw the same amount of rectangles or squares that your working surface will have. So for instance, this is a rectangle. If I created let's say 16 rectangles on here in proportion, the same 16 on my wall or my canvas, I can draw the same thing by connecting what you see in each square. It's kind of like connect the dots. So that's what we're going to do. The other thing that you can do, if you printed something out actual size of your canvas or work surface, this will work. You can print it out. I just printed it without all of the color and saturation, so I didn't waste a lot of ink. You could also print something out if it's the exact size. This is transfer paper. It comes in the graphite transfer paper, and you can see I've used this hundreds of times. They last forever. It's very inexpensive. It comes on a roll, comes in sheets, and it also comes in white. So if you're working on a dark canvas or wood or something like that, so you can use the transfer paper. You tape or hold your image in place. You place it underneath, and you trace over it, and that transfers that onto the canvas. So that's a couple different ways. Now, if you're able to draw, I still think, hey, just draw something yourself. It doesn't have to look exactly the same. Whenever we have our guests in our show, as a part of our show, I like to encourage them, and also with paint parties and classes that I teach, just make it your own. The goal is not to make it look like mine. I don't even make it look like mine original. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. The other thing, just to give you a heads up, if you're going to paint this, I pre-painted the canvas panel a very bright, it looks a little duller here on the computer, but it's a very bright, well, I mixed a hot pink and an orange together. So it's a very bright color, and that's what we will draw the design on for the episode if you wanted to have that done. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do, when you draw your design, I recommend something that will melt or blend back into the paint. You can use watercolor pencil. These are just color pencils. If you use a watercolor pencil, as you add the paint and water to your canvas, it will just melt right back in. You won't see it. Some artists like to see this part of their sketches in certain watercolor techniques and all, and that's fine too. If you don't want to see it, use the watercolor pencil, use chalk. You could use a regular graphite pencil, but just very, very lightly sketch, because I'm doing the grid first. I don't want to see that grid in the artwork. I'm going to do this much darker just so that you can see it, and you know, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we are going to start with this. I'm going to draw right over this. So this was my original that I painted, and then I printed it out. So I'm going to fold this in half again, vertically and horizontally, okay? And then like this. And this will give us equal. Now I'm not taking into consideration this white border. I'm just doing the artwork itself. Need to lay this down. Okay, so that's one way you can get out a ruler, but this will show me. Okay, that's the, I'm going to do it one more time, but let me first show you where these are. So I have the center line, I have this one in the middle, I have this one, and when you draw these, they don't have to be perfectly straight. It's just the guide. So you could see here I have 8, but I'm going to divide these again. I'll fold it this way, and again, because of that border, I don't want to include the border, just the artwork. Now that gives me, okay, so I'll draw this. You can see here approximately where this is. So I've done murals in the Pittsburgh area for, gosh, over 30 years, about 30 years. And oftentimes if I was doing something that was a little more complicated on, say, a 10-foot by 8-foot wall, I could start with a 10-foot by 10-inch by 8-inch image, say horizontal, divide my image into these equal parts, and then do the same on the wall. The key is the proportion. If it's square, you want a square overall size. If it's a rectangle, you want a rectangle. And then I would just go to the wall and just connect the image. I would count over and down and draw what's in each square and then just connect them. So that's how a lot of muralists do that. At least they used to, old-time muralists. I think a lot of them, there are a lot of projectors now that make it very easy to project images on a large, very large scale, like a mural and such. So, okay, so let's see. So this is what my reference, all right? So this is a rectangle. This might be a little bit higher in proportion than this, but that's okay. It's just the background that we can adjust that. So what I'm going to do, you can get a ruler out and you can find the center. I usually just kind of eyeball it. I'll put a couple little marks maybe in the center and then above and below. And then I look ahead where I'm going with my pencil and I draw that line. Okay? Does this look a little bit, let me see, turn this light. That might look a little bit better there. I'll be a little bit darker, but that's okay. All right, now this is our vertical line. Now divide this in half, our little points, and then down here. So one up here, one down here. Follow my little Heinz pickle. And then we'll connect these. And again, I'm making these darker just so that you can see them. On your piece, you will do this very lightly. It could be a little darker if it's watercolor pencil. Then I will find the center, okay? And I will connect, say, from here to here. All right. And you'll see how this is going to be. These are a rectangle, but yeah, I think it'll work out okay. All right, so here and then here. I looks like I have a little bit more maybe on the top and the bottom, but again, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go with this line here. Let's see, this one. So again, you're seeing these messy lines, right? Now when I start with my design, I will use a red, just so it's a different color and you can see what I'm doing here. If you've never been to the National Aviary, I highly recommend it. It's amazing there, and everything that they do there. All right, so let's start with in his body, this section here, okay, just to give us his shape. So this is the second row down, second one in, second one down, second one in, from left and right. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to come in here. So I'm working from here. It's a little bit of, I'm just very loosely, just sketch what you see, but we can refine everything, okay? This is just to give us an idea of where his body is. This is his wing. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at these different points of interest here and looking at the shape. So just look at it. Don't worry about it being a bird. You know, no matter what it is, that doesn't matter. Just look at it as shapes, okay? That's there. We have this comes down. It's part of his tail. So you could see very quickly how we have that in there. And then we can fix it up a little. We'll see what we have to do here. But that just gives us something to go on. Okay. And then, let's see, my pencil needs sharpened. Let's use this one. That looks like it's not showing up. It did not show up. I apologize. I'm going to do that a little darker. Sorry about that. Okay. Fix my lighting here. It's still having a gray day here in Pittsburgh. All right, so that's his body. It's his neck, and then let's see, this is the back of his neck, and then his head, which if you draw, everything is in geometric shape. So his head is a circle, his body is an oval. We could have started that way too, but I didn't, sorry. Let's see, so I would say let's do the circle. And if you look at, it's about halfway, a little bit more than halfway up, but this last section should be about here. It wasn't the true rectangle the way I folded it because of the size of the picture. It wasn't a true 5x7, it was cropped a little. All right, so let's see, we have right here in these crosshairs, we have his very strong beak is here. We have this section here. Okay, and then we have, and then his nose or nair. Make sure we get that in there when we paint. And then once I look back at this, I may need to adjust something, and that's fine. This is just, it helps you instead of starting from nothing and just looking at something. If you break it down into shapes and use this grid system, you can see how much easier it is. And then his eye, I'll have to ask Jamie when he comes with the, I don't necessarily know all of the correct terms for the different areas of their body or feathers. And so you could see there's our parrot. I feel like this could be maybe a little, come out a little further. Then we have that other wing. You can see already how easy this is. His leg, this left leg is right about on, it straddles this line a little. So here, and his body is still there. We have that. And then there's some shadows, and his other leg is under here. And then let's get his little toes there. So he has one here, and this one I have the big talons, or okay, there. And then there's like another toe that goes back there, but we can't see that. And then part of that log or branch, which he was sitting on, and like I said, this was taken, the photograph was taken at the National Aviary. They go around the world. They help with conservation, preservation, education, wildlife, and nature, and they're just amazing there. Okay, so that's to say his toes. Again, and once we paint everything, you can add your details, and this is just to give us his little feet right there. This could be any shape. This is actually down there, but I ended up wanting to take it up. You can adjust it as you need it. This could be any shape. Make it fit your piece. So there he's sitting on there, and then his tail is coming out. So it's the second one over, third one down. This should be up here. It's coming out right around here, and it goes off. I purposely had it extending off of the canvas because their tails are, these scarlet macaws, their tails are so beautiful and so long, and I was okay with it extending off of the canvas because I wanted him to be larger. And then the rest of the details, so you could see that was just shapes, and looking at this grid, by doing that, that helps you scale it. So I worked from this, I did the same number. If I drew 4 big rectangles, you could do that too. The more squares or rectangles that you create, the more pieces you will have, more of the detail. If I chose to do these, you know, each one of these were 4, we'd have whatever 32 or something like that. Again, that might be easier, but I feel if you just have some type of a point of reference, it works. So there you go. You have a 5x7, roughly a 5x7, converted to 11x14. If you're using the graphite pencil, you can erase your grid lines. You can lightly erase some of the drawing, but if you use the watercolor pencil, that works out great. So we hope you'll watch our episode. Award-winning show. We did win an award from the Greater Pittsburgh Media Award, a banquet a couple of years ago, and multiple awards, maybe 7 or 8 through Bethel Park and the community there, the cable channel BPTV. So thank you so much, and I hope you will subscribe. It's free. We are all volunteers. It's a volunteer show. We just love to inspire people and help you get creative. Okay, follow the pickle. Thanks.